There was a man who was worried. He didn't have a job, so he was worried about his future. How would he buy food, and who would pay his rent and bills? So he applied for a job, but then became worried about what would happen if there was no response. What if he never found a job and became homeless? But the response came, and the man was preparing himself for a job interview. But then he began to worry about not being offered the job. What if he didn't do well in the interview and embarrassed himself? However, the interview went well and the man got the job. But very quickly, he began to worry again about what he would do if he did not like it. What if his days were filled with meaningless monotony and he became bitter and unhappy? And then, if he became really miserable, all of his friends might abandon him, because who would want to spend time with a grumpy person? And if everyone avoided contact with him, then he would have no opportunity to meet his future wife and would be lonely till the end of his days. Well, then he thought he could always adopt a dog and thereby gain a loyal friend who would love him forever. But then he started to worry again about what if the dog became violent and began destroying his apartment. Instead of making him happy, it would ruin the man's life. And if not that, what if the dog was noisy? The neighbors would complain. He may even get evicted. He would lose his apartment and become homeless. Suddenly, everything disappeared. The man woke up and found himself in his apartment. There had been no eviction, no damage to his apartment, no dog, and no job interview.
If it was just a dream, why was I so worried about everything? None of it was real. So why did I struggle so much, and why was I so afraid? And what if I hadn't woken up? I would still be worrying about all the things that didn't happen and don't exist. And what if I have the same dream again tonight, and it gets worse and worse, and I wake up sweaty and tired? And what if my lack of good sleep leads to health problems? I could lose my job, and then I wouldn't be able to afford medicine. And what if nobody could help me?
The man woke up again, safe and comfortable in his bed. There was no health problem, and he hadn't lost his job. Neither of his two dreams had been real. He was confused.
I was worried in a dream about being worried in a dream. How unfortunate. I could have had a good night's sleep instead of worrying about my non-existent problems. What if everyone's lives are spent worrying like this? The problems of a young man are not relevant when he is old. But as soon as worry appears, we give it so much importance. How can one get free from this unending mechanism of worry? What if one could be worried without even being conscious of it? And what if I too were worried all the time? Worried in the waking state and worried even in my dreams? And what if it gets worse and worse and I keep waking up sweaty and tired? And what if my lack of good sleep leads to health problems? I could lose my job. And then I wouldn't be able to afford medicine. And what if nobody could help me?
As I said before, there was a man who was worried.
And what if... And what if... I'm doing it myself! Oh! Oh, I can't believe it! Oh, I'd better get up and start doing stuff. Otherwise this worrying will have no end.